Don't touch her. The voice cut through the chaos just as the sound cracked across the scene. Sharp, violent, undeniable. Amara staggered, one hand flying to her cheek, the other instinctively wrapping around her belly. The crowd froze. Phones lifted. And standing in front of her, the man who had just hit a 7-month pregnant paramedic didn't look sorry. He looked annoyed. Victor Kane. A man who never waited. A man who never lost. But in that single moment, caught on camera, buried under lies, twisted by power, something shifted. Because what nobody realized was that someone else had seen everything. And he wasn't reacting. He was calculating. Within hours, Amara lost everything. Her job. Her income. Her reputation. The world turned against her with edited clips and false headlines painting her as unstable, dangerous, guilty. Even the system meant to protect her turned its back. And Victor? He walked away smiling. Untouchable. Or so he thought. Because somewhere in the shadows, Elias Bello made one quiet decision. Don't release anything yet. I want everything. And when he moved, he didn't just defend his sister. He dismantled an empire. Money vanished. Allies disappeared. Power collapsed. One move at a time, precise, silent, irreversible. Until the man who controlled everything had nothing left. But here's the question. Was this justice? Or was it something far more dangerous? How far would you go to protect someone you love? And when power is abused, who really gets to decide the price? What happens when the person you tried to destroy isn't weak, but connected to someone far more powerful than you ever imagined? And when the truth finally comes out, is it enough? Or is it already too late? Stay till the end, because this isn't just a story about revenge. It's about consequences, and what happens when the wrong person pushes back. Kindly do us a favor and subscribe to our channel. It is free and it doesn't cost anything, but it means the world to us. We're just a small channel trying to grow. Thank you, and back to the video. The first scream didn't come from the crash. It came from the woman trapped in the second car, the one slowly catching fire. Don't pull him yet, Amara shouted, already dropping to her knees beside the crushed door, her voice cutting through sirens, smoke, and the chaos of metal twisted into impossible shapes. His spine, if you move him wrong, you'll paralyze him. The young paramedic froze mid-motion, hands trembling. But the fire. I know. Amara snapped, then softer, faster, controlled. I know. Just hold him steady. Look at me, sir, can you hear me? Inside the wreck, the man's lips moved barely. Blood trickled from his temple. Good, she whispered, already reaching in, fingers steady despite the heat licking closer. Stay with me. You're not dying here. Not today. Behind her, someone yelled. Fuel leak. We need to clear out. No. Amara barked, sharper this time. We have time. 2 minutes. That's all I need. Her hand instinctively pressed against the curve of her belly for half a second. Just one. Before she leaned back into the wreckage. 7 months pregnant. Standing between life and death like it was just another shift. Because for her, it was. Then came the sound that changed everything. A convoy. Loud engines. Expensive ones. The kind that didn't slow down for chaos. They expected chaos to move for them. Who the hell is that? Lara muttered, glancing over her shoulder. Amara didn't look up. Doesn't matter. Focus. But it did matter. The black SUVs rolled in like they owned the road, tires crunching over broken glass, pushing past barricades, forcing emergency responders to step back. One of the officers shouted, "You can't bring those vehicles in here." A door slammed. Heavy. Final. Then footsteps. Measured. Confident. Angry. "Move them," a deep voice said, cold and impatient. Now. Amara finally looked up. The man standing there didn't look like he belonged in a disaster zone. His suit was untouched, sharp enough to cut glass. Not a speck of dust. Not a drop of sweat. Victor Kane. Even without knowing his name, everything about him screamed power, the kind that didn't ask for permission. He scanned the scene like it offended him. "What is this mess?" he said, almost to himself. Lara whispered, "Oh my God, that's Kane." The Kane. Amara didn't care who he was. She turned back to her patient. "Sir, stay with me. We're getting you out." "My associate is injured," Victor said louder now, stepping closer. "He needs immediate medical attention." Amara didn't even turn this time. "Then he can wait his turn," she said flatly. The air shifted. Everyone felt it. "Excuse me?" Victor's voice dropped, dangerously calm. Lara looked like she wanted to disappear. "Amara, she whispered urgently. That's not someone you... I heard him, Amara cut in, still focused on stabilizing the man's neck. And I said what I said. Victor stepped closer, his shoes stopping just inches from the pool of blood on the asphalt. He didn't even notice it. You don't seem to understand the situation, he said, his tone tightening. I don't wait. Amara finally turned. Slowly, deliberately, her eyes locked onto his. And for the first time since he arrived, someone didn't look intimidated. I understand perfectly, she said. There are 3 critical patients here. Your associate is walking. That means he waits. A murmur rippled through the bystanders. Phones were already out. Recording. Victor noticed. His jaw tightened. Do you know who you're speaking to? He asked, stepping closer. Amara stood up now, placing herself fully between him and the chaos behind her. No, she said. And I don't need to. That hit him. Harder than it should have. I built half the infrastructure in this city, Victor said, voice rising slightly. Hospitals included. Roads. Emergency systems. You're standing on something I paid for. Amara didn't blink. And yet, she replied, you still had to use the same road as everyone else to get here. A few people in the crowd let out quiet, shocked breaths. Victor's eyes darkened. Move, he said. No. It was simple. Final. Behind him, his assistant groaned dramatically, holding his arm. Sir, it hurts. Of course it does, Amara said without looking. It's a cut. You'll survive. That did it. Victor stepped forward, closing the gap completely. Listen carefully, he said, voice low, controlled but trembling with anger. You're gonna stop whatever you're doing, bring a stretcher, and treat my man. Now. Amara shook her head once. Not happening. Don't push this, Victor warned. Then stop pushing me, she fired back. Silence. Thick. Heavy. Explosive. Then he laughed. A short, disbelieving sound. You think this is a negotiation? He asked. No, Amara said. I think this is an emergency, and you're in the way. That was the moment. The exact moment things crossed a line they couldn't come back from. Victor's hand shot out, grabbing her wrist. Don't walk away from me, he snapped. Lara gasped. Sir, you can't. Amara pulled her hand free instantly. Don't touch me. Then do your job, he barked. I am doing my job. Wrong, he said, stepping even closer. You're refusing a direct. I don't take orders from you. Her voice rang out. Sharp. Unshaken. And somewhere behind them, a phone zoomed in closer. Victor's face hardened completely. You're finished, he said quietly. You just don't know it yet. Amara turned away from him. That was the mistake. Or maybe the trigger. Because the next second, the sound cracked through the air like a gunshot. His hand connected with her face. Hard. Too hard. Everything stopped. The world didn't just go quiet, it disappeared. Amara staggered sideways, her body reacting before her mind could catch up. One hand flew to her cheek. The other, instinctively, wrapped around her belly. Protecting. Always protecting. Lara screamed. Oh my God. Someone shouted. He hit her. Phones tilted. Zoomed. Focused. Victor stood there, chest rising slightly, his expression unreadable, but not regretful. Maybe now you understand, he said coldly. Amara blinked. Once. Twice. Her ears rang. Her vision blurred for a split second. But she didn't fall. She straightened. Slowly. Painfully. Her eyes lifted back to his. And what he saw there wasn't fear. It was something worse. You just made a very big mistake, she said quietly. Victor scoffed. No, he replied. You did. Sirens wailed louder in the distance. Not ambulances. Police. Right on cue. An officer pushed through the crowd. What's going on here? Victor didn't even turn. This paramedic is obstructing emergency assistance, he said smoothly. And she became aggressive. Lara stepped forward immediately. That's a lie. Careful. The officer cut in sharply, glancing at her, then at Victor. Recognition flickered in his eyes. And then something else. Submission. I saw everything, Lara insisted. He slapped her. She's pregnant. That's enough, the officer snapped. Sir, he said, turning to Victor, tone instantly softer. We'll handle this. Amara's stomach dropped. Not from fear. From realization. Handle what? She asked. The officer looked at her like she was the problem. You need to step aside, he said. You're disrupting the scene. Amara stared at him. You're serious? She said. Don't make this harder than it needs to be. Behind her, the trapped man groaned again. Reality snapped back in. She turned instantly. We're losing him. You need to step away, the officer repeated, firmer now. Are you insane? She demanded. He's dying. And you're done here. 2 more officers moved in. Lara grabbed Amara's arm. Don't fight them, she whispered desperately. Please. Amara looked around. At the cameras. At the crowd. At Victor. Watching. Waiting. Smiling, just slightly. That was when she understood. This wasn't about the slap anymore. This was about power. And right now, he had it. She slowly raised her hands. Fine, she said quietly. The words tasted like ash. They escorted her back. Away from the crash. Away from the patients. Away from everything she was trained to do. Lara stayed behind, tears streaming. I'm so sorry, she mouthed. Amara didn't respond. She just stood there, hands still resting protectively over her belly, watching someone else take over her patient, watching the man she was saving fade further away. And across the scene, Victor Kane adjusted his cuffs, like nothing had happened, like it was just another inconvenience handled. But what he didn't see, what nobody saw, was the man standing at the edge of the crowd, still, silent, watching everything, his phone already in his hand, his eyes locked on Amara, not with panic, not with anger, but with something far more dangerous. Calculation. He didn't move when the slap happened, didn't react when the officers stepped in, didn't interfere when Amara was pulled away. He just watched, and when she finally disappeared behind the barricade, he turned, walked away, and as he did, he spoke quietly into the phone. Don't release anything yet, Elias said, his voice calm. Not until I have everything. A pause, then softer. Yeah, I saw it. His jaw tightened slightly. Not enough for anyone to notice, but enough. Start pulling his financials, he added. All of them. Another pause. And find me everything he's been hiding. He ended the call. Didn't look back, because he already knew one thing with absolute certainty. Victor Kane had just made the worst mistake of his life. And unlike everyone else in that moment, Elias wasn't interested in reacting. He was preparing for something far worse. The first thing Amara noticed wasn't the pain. It was the silence. Not the chaos-filled silence of the accident scene, but a colder one. The kind that settles when people decide not to speak. Pack your things. The words came from a man who wouldn't meet her eyes. Supervisor. Senior. Someone who had praised her just 2 days ago. Now he stood with his hands behind his back like she was already gone. I need a reason, Amara said quietly, her voice steady despite the storm building inside her. On what grounds? He exhaled slowly. Insubordination. Disrupting emergency protocol. Aggressive conduct toward a civilian. Lara's voice broke in immediately. That's not true. Lara, the supervisor cut in sharply. You weren't asked to speak. I was there. Lara insisted, stepping forward. Everyone saw what happened, he hit her. And yet, the supervisor replied, finally looking up, his expression tight. That's not what's being reported. Amara's stomach turned. Reported by who? She asked. No one answered. That was answer enough. She let out a slow breath, one hand unconsciously resting over her belly. Say it clearly, she said. You're removing me because of him. The supervisor's jaw flexed. We're removing you because of your conduct. That's not what I asked. Silence again. Then quieter this time, almost apologetic. You should just cooperate. It'll be easier. Easier. The word felt like an insult. For who? Amara asked. No response. Take off your vest, he said instead. Lara shook her head, tears spilling freely now. Amara, don't. Please don't let them do this. Amara didn't look at her. Slowly, deliberately, she reached for the straps of her paramedic vest. Each movement felt heavier than the last. 6 years. 6 years of night shifts, missed holidays, holding strangers' hands as they slipped away. Reduced to this. A single moment. A single man. She pulled the vest off, folded it once, then placed it gently on the desk. I didn't do anything wrong, she said. Her voice didn't shake. That was the only thing she still controlled. The supervisor nodded stiffly. You'll be contacted regarding further review. Review? Lara scoffed. You've already decided. Enough, he snapped. Amara picked up her bag, turned, and walked out. No one stopped her. No one followed. The hallway stretched longer than it ever had before. Each step echoed, each breath heavier than the last. She passed colleagues who suddenly found the floor very interesting. No one spoke. No one defended her. Because everyone knew. Power had already chosen its side. Outside, the air hit her differently. Colder. Sharper. Like the world had shifted while she wasn't looking. Her phone buzzed. Once. Twice. Then again. She ignored it. Kept walking. Until the buzzing didn't stop. Finally, she pulled it out. Dozens of notifications. Messages. Mentions. Her name. Her face. Her moment. Everywhere. Her thumb hesitated, then tapped. The video loaded instantly. Her heart dropped. It wasn't the full clip. It was cut. Edited. Manipulated. The angle showed her turning sharply toward Victor. His voice removed. His aggression gone. Then the slap. But slowed. Zoomed. Framed like a reaction, not an attack. A voiceover layered on top. Paramedic loses control during emergency. Her breathing tightened. No, she whispered. Another clip started automatically. Different angle. Same lie. She attacked first. She escalated. She was unstable. Comments flooded the screen. She shouldn't be working. Pregnant and aggressive? Dangerous. Fire her immediately. Amara's grip tightened around the phone. Her hands trembled. Not from weakness. From disbelief. This isn't real, she said under her breath. But it was. It was very real. And it was spreading. Fast. Amara? She looked up. Lara stood a few steps away, breathless, eyes red. I tried to tell them, Lara said, voice breaking. I told everyone what really happened, but... It doesn't matter, Amara interrupted softly. Lara shook her head violently. It does. We can fight this, we can. How? Amara asked. The question landed heavy. How do you fight something that already decided the outcome? She continued. How do you prove the truth when no one wants to hear it? Lara opened her mouth. Closed it again. Tears fell silently. I'm sorry, she whispered. Amara forced a small smile. Don't be, she said. You did more than most. Lara stepped closer. Where are you going? Amara glanced down at her phone again. Another notification. This time from her bank. Her chest tightened. I don't know yet, she admitted. And for the first time, that scared her. The grocery store was quiet. Too quiet. The kind of quiet that made small moments feel louder than they should. The beep of the scanner. The rustle of plastic. The low hum of refrigerators. Amara stood at the counter, watching the cashier bag her items. Milk. Bread. Basic things. Normal things. Things she still needed, no matter what had just happened. That'll be $18,450, the cashier said. Amara nodded, reaching into her bag. Her card slid smoothly into the machine. For a moment, everything felt normal again. Then, declined. She blinked. I'm sorry, she said. The cashier frowned slightly. It didn't go through. That's not possible, Amara replied, already pulling the card out. Try again. The cashier did. Same result. Declined. A few people in line shifted impatiently. Amara's pulse quickened. Let me try another one, she said quickly. Second card. Insert. Wait. Declined. Her throat went dry. No, that's not right, she muttered. She pulled out her phone, opened her banking app, and froze. Balance restricted. Access suspended. Her stomach dropped so fast it made her dizzy. What? She whispered. The cashier shifted awkwardly. Ma'am, do you have another form of payment? Amara stared at the screen. This wasn't just bad luck. This was deliberate. Her hand slowly moved to her belly. Instinct. Protection. Fear. She started then stopped. She swallowed hard. I'm sorry, she said quietly. I'll come back. She turned. Walked out. Left everything behind. The walk home felt longer than usual. Or maybe it just felt heavier. Each step carried something new. Not just exhaustion, not just pain, but pressure. Something closing in. Her phone buzzed again. This time she answered. Hello? Miss Bello, a calm, professional voice said. This is Adeyemi and Company. Legal representatives. Her chest tightened immediately. Yes. We are contacting you on behalf of Mr. Victor Kane. Of course. Regarding a formal complaint filed against you for professional misconduct, emotional distress, and public endangerment. Amara stopped walking. What? She said. The claim outlines damages resulting from your aggressive behavior during a public emergency incident. That's a lie, she cut in sharply. There was a pause. Then the voice continued, unfazed. You will receive official documentation within the hour. We advise you to refrain from public statements. You're suing me? She demanded. For damages, yes. Her grip tightened around the phone. You hit me, she said, her voice low now. You're the one who assaulted me. We understand your position, the voice replied smoothly. However, evidence suggests otherwise. Evidence. Her chest rose sharply. That video is manipulated, she said. Then you are welcome to contest it in court. The call ended. Just like that. Amara stood there, alone, in the middle of the street. Everything unraveling faster than she could hold it together. Her job, her money, her name, her reality. All of it slipping. And somewhere in the middle of that chaos, her hand pressed tighter against her belly. A reminder. She wasn't alone. Not really. She couldn't afford to fall apart. Not now. By the time she reached her apartment, the sun had already dipped low. The hallway lights flickered slightly as she stepped inside. Everything felt distant, like she was moving through someone else's life. She reached her door, paused. Something was wrong. A paper. Taped. Right in the center. Her chest tightened. Slowly, she reached out, pulled it off, read. Eviction notice. Effective immediately. Her fingers trembled. No, she whispered. This was too fast. Too coordinated. Too precise. She pushed the door open, stepped inside. The apartment looked the same, but it didn't feel the same. It felt temporary, like it already wasn't hers anymore. Her bag dropped to the floor. She sank onto the couch. Silence filled the space, heavy, unforgiving. Her phone buzzed again. She didn't pick it up this time. Didn't want to see more lies, more damage, more loss. Instead, she just sat there, breathing slow, controlled, one hand resting over her belly. I'm okay, she whispered softly. We're okay. The words felt fragile, but she held on to them anyway, because she had to. Minutes passed. Or maybe hours. Time didn't feel real anymore. Then something shifted. Not outside. Inside. A thought. A memory. A line she had drawn years ago. A boundary she had protected at all costs. Her eyes slowly lifted toward the bedroom, toward the closet. No, she murmured. She shook her head slightly. I promised, her voice faded. Because promises only matter when life allows them to. Right now, life had taken everything else. Her jaw tightened. Her eyes hardened, just slightly. Enough. Slowly, she stood, walked toward the bedroom. Each step deliberate. Each breath steady. She reached the closet, moved the boxes, reached behind, and pulled out a small, fireproof case. It hadn't been touched in years. Not since she chose a different life. A normal life. A quiet life. Her fingers hovered over the lock, just for a second. Then she opened it. Inside, a phone. Old. But fully charged. Always ready. Just in case. She stared at it longer than she needed to, as if once she picked it up, there was no going back. Because there wasn't. Her hand moved anyway, picked it up, turned it on. The screen lit instantly. One contact. No name. Just a number. Her breath slowed. Her thumb hovered, then pressed. The line rang once. Twice. Then click. I was wondering how long you'd wait, a calm voice said on the other end. Amara closed her eyes. Tears slipped silently down her face. Elias, she whispered. There was a pause, not long, just enough. What happened? He asked. She tried to speak. The words stuck, not because she didn't have them, but because there were too many. So instead, she said the only thing that mattered. I need help. Silence. Then, you should have called sooner, Elias replied quietly. His voice wasn't angry. It wasn't emotional. It was something else. Something steady. Something controlled. Something dangerous. I didn't want, she started, then stopped. I know, he said. Another pause, softer this time. Are you safe? She looked around the apartment, at the notice, at the emptiness, at everything she had just lost. No, she said. And for the first time that day, her voice broke. On the other end of the line, Elias didn't respond immediately. But when he did, his tone had changed. Not louder. Not harsher. Just colder. Okay, he said. One word. But it carried weight, finality, action. Don't go anywhere, he added. And don't talk to anyone else. Amara wiped her tears quickly. Elias, I don't want. I know what you want, he interrupted. And I know what you need. A pause. Then, go to sleep. What? She asked. Rest, he said. You've done enough. Her chest tightened. And you? Another pause, longer this time. Then, I'm just getting started. The first sign that something was wrong didn't come from the news. It came from a number Victor Kane didn't recognize. "Sir, we have a situation." Victor didn't look up from his glass. "Then handle it." I don't think we can." That made him pause. Slowly, he set the glass down. "Explain," he said. On the other end, his chief financial officer hesitated. "Our primary account, it's been flagged." Victor frowned. "Flagged for what?" "We don't know yet. It's under review." "By who?" Another pause. "That's the problem." Victor leaned back in his chair, irritation flickering across his face. "Fix it." "We're trying." "Trying isn't fixing," Victor snapped. "Resolve it." He ended the call without waiting for a response. Annoying, but manageable. Everything was manageable. That's how his world worked. Or at least it always had. Across the city, in a room that never appeared on any official map, Elias Bello didn't look up from his screen. "Phase 1 is live," a voice said behind him. Elias nodded once. "Traffic?" "Spiking. The clip is spreading." "Good," Elias replied calmly. "Keep it organic." Another voice chimed in. "We've got resistance. His PR team is pushing counter-narratives." Elias's fingers moved across the keyboard with quiet precision. "They'll lose," he said. "How can you be sure?" He didn't answer immediately. Instead, he tapped a key, and on the screen the original footage appeared, clear, unedited, unquestionable. Victor's voice. Victor's threats. Victor's hand striking Amara. "The truth. Because facts don't need editing," Elias said quietly. Then he hit upload. By morning, everything had changed. "Have you seen this? Turn it up." That's him, right? Phones lit up across the city, across the country, across platforms. The real video spread like wildfire. No filters. No cuts. No excuses. Just truth. Victor Kane, clear as day, slapping a pregnant paramedic. The reaction was instant. And brutal. Disgusting. Lock him up. Cancel everything he owns. Who does he think he is? Back in his penthouse, Victor stared at his screen. For the first time in years, he looked uncertain. "This isn't possible," he muttered. His assistant stood frozen nearby. "Sir, it's everywhere." Victor's jaw tightened. "Take it down." "We're trying, but I didn't ask if you were trying," he snapped. "I said take it down. We can't control all platforms. Then control the ones you can." His phone rang again. This time, he answered immediately. "What now?" "Sir, it's worse," the CFO said, his voice strained. "Investors are pulling out." Victor froze. "What?" "Major stakeholders are liquidating positions." "The stock? What about the stock?" "It dropped 12% in the last hour." Victor stood up abruptly. "That's a correction. It'll stabilize." "It's not stabilizing," the CFO replied. "It's accelerating." Silence. "Then, get them on the line," Victor said. "All of them." "I've tried. They're not responding." Victor's grip tightened around the phone. "They'll respond," he said coldly. "They always do." But this time they didn't. Elsewhere, Elias watched the numbers climb. Views, shares, engagement, outrage. "Phase 1 complete," someone reported. Elias nodded. "Proceed." "Phase 2. He leaned back slightly, eyes still on the screen. "Financial exposure." Another voice hesitated. "That's going to hit hard." Elias's expression didn't change. "It's supposed to." He tapped another key. And just like that, the second domino fell. Victor's phone buzzed again. And again. And again. He ignored the first few. Then the calls kept coming, relentless. Finally, he answered. "What is it now?" "Sir, our offshore accounts. What about them?" "They're gone." Victor went still. "Gone," he repeated slowly. "Yes. Not transferred. Not frozen. Just empty." "That's impossible," he said immediately. "We checked 3 times. There's nothing there." Victor's pulse spiked. "Trace it." "We're trying." "Stop saying that," he roared. "Fix it." The line went silent. Victor turned, pacing now. This wasn't normal. This wasn't random. This was targeted. Precise. Calculated. "Who's doing this?" he muttered. No answer came. But somewhere someone already knew. Amara woke up slowly. For a moment, everything felt quiet. Normal. Then reality crept back in. The slap, the suspension, the eviction. Her hand moved instinctively to her belly. Still there. Still safe. She exhaled softly. Then her phone buzzed. She hesitated before picking it up. Part of her didn't want to see it, didn't want more bad news. But when she finally looked, her eyes widened. The video, but not the one from yesterday. This one was different. clearer, longer, uncut. Her breath caught. "No way," she whispered. She watched it. Every second, every word, every moment, exactly as it happened. Her chest tightened, not from fear this time, but from something else. Relief. Truth. Finally, her phone rang. She answered immediately. "Elias, did you see it?" he asked. "Yes," she said, her voice shaking slightly. "How did you?" "It doesn't matter," he replied calmly. "What matters is that people are seeing the truth." She sat up slowly. "Elias, what are you doing?" There was a pause. "Correcting a mistake," he said. Her grip tightened around the phone. "This isn't just a video. Something else is happening, isn't it?" Another pause, longer this time. "You should focus on yourself," he said. "Let me handle the rest." "Elias," she pressed. "I don't want." "I know what you want," he cut in. "But this stopped being about what you want the moment he decided to destroy your life." Her chest rose sharply. "He didn't destroy me," she said. "No," Elias replied quietly. "But he tried." Silence settled between them. Then, "I'm not going to let that stand." Amara closed her eyes. She knew that tone. It wasn't anger. It was certainty. And certainty was far more dangerous. "Just be careful," she said softly. "I always am," he replied. Then the line went dead. Back at Victor's office, things were unraveling faster. "Sir, the board is requesting an emergency meeting. Tell them I'm unavailable. They said it's not optional." Victor scoffed. "Everything is optional. Not this." Victor turned sharply. "Watch your tone." The assistant swallowed hard. "Yes, sir." Victor grabbed his jacket. "Set it up," he said. "I'll deal with them directly." The boardroom was colder than usual, not physically, emotionally. Victor stepped in expecting tension. He got something worse, distance. No one stood. No one greeted him. They just watched. "What's this about?" Victor asked, taking his seat. A man across the table spoke first. "The video." Victor waved a hand dismissively. "Handled." "No," the man replied. "It's not." Victor's eyes narrowed. "It will be." "Investors are pulling out," another added. "Public trust is collapsing." "That's temporary," Victor said. "We've survived worse." "Have we?" someone else muttered. Victor leaned forward. "Let's be clear. This company exists because of me. It survives because of me. So unless any of you have a better solution, we're considering removing you," the first man said. Silence, sharp, immediate. Victor stared at him. "Say that again," he said slowly. "We're considering removing you as CEO." Victor laughed, actually laughed. "You can't remove me." "We can." "You won't." A pause. Then, "We already initiated the process." The laughter stopped. Victor's expression hardened completely. "This is a mistake," he said. "Maybe," the man replied. "But right now, you are the bigger one." Victor stood abruptly. "You're all overreacting." "Are we?" someone asked. "Because it looks like we're protecting what's left." Victor's fists clenched. "You think you can run this without me?" "No," the man said calmly. "We think we have to." Victor stared at them, one by one, looking for loyalty, finding none. Then he turned and walked out. But this time, he didn't look in control. Across the city, Elias watched it all unfold. Every move, every reaction, every collapse. "Phase 3, someone asked. Elias nodded slightly. "Isolation." "And after that?" He didn't answer immediately. His eyes stayed on the screen, on Victor, alone for the first time. "Then, we finish it," he said quietly. And somewhere deep beneath the surface, the final phase was already beginning. If you're enjoying this story, kindly do us a favor and subscribe to our channel. It is free and it doesn't cost anything, but it means the world to us. We're just a small channel trying to grow. Thank you, and back to the video. The first time Victor Kane realized he couldn't fix it was when nobody picked up. Not his banker, not his legal team, not even the men who used to answer before the first ring. "Pick up," he muttered, pacing across the marble floor of his penthouse, dialing again. "Come on, pick up." Voicemail. Again. His jaw tightened. "This is ridiculous," he snapped to no one. "People don't just disappear." But that was exactly what was happening. One by one. Systematically. Like someone had flipped a switch and erased him from every network that once made him untouchable. His phone buzzed again. Unknown number. He answered instantly. "Finally, Mr. Kane," a calm voice said. "This is the Federal Financial Crimes Division." Victor froze. For the first time, truly froze. We'd like to ask you a few questions regarding your offshore holdings. Victor recovered quickly. You'll speak to my lawyer. We tried. He declined representation. Silence. Then, that's not possible, Victor said. We'll be in touch, the voice replied. Click. The line went dead. Victor stared at the phone. Something cold settled in his chest. This wasn't damage control anymore. This was collapse. Across the city, Elias stood by the window, watching the skyline glow under the night. Asset seizures are in motion, a voice behind him reported. Authorities picked up the trail exactly as expected. Elias didn't turn. Good, he said quietly. And Victor? A pause. He's isolated. Elias nodded once, then finally turned. Bring him in. The room went still. I mean exactly what I said, Elias replied calmly. No anger. No hesitation. Just decision. Tonight. Victor didn't notice the SUVs until it was too late. He had just stepped out of his private car at the airstrip, moving fast, breath tight, mind racing through options. He still had one. Leave. Disappear. Rebuild somewhere else. He'd done it before. He could do it again. Or at least, that's what he told himself. Then the headlights hit him. Bright. Blinding. 3 vehicles. Blocking the path to his jet. His driver stepped forward. Sir, stay behind me. The doors opened. 6 men stepped out. Calm. Silent. Efficient. No weapons visible. They didn't need them. Victor's instincts kicked in. Do you know who I am? He snapped, stepping back. No answer. They kept walking. You're making a mistake, he added, voice sharper now. A very expensive one. Still nothing. One of them reached him first. Victor swung. It was instinct. Desperation. The man caught his wrist mid-motion. Effortlessly. Another moved behind him. Let go of me. Victor barked. A cloth bag dropped over his head. Darkness swallowed everything. Get off. His voice cut short as they forced him forward. Into the vehicle. The door slammed. And just like that, the world he controlled vanished. When the bag came off, the first thing Victor saw was light. Soft. Focused. At the end of a long table. The room itself was massive. Cold marble floors. Dark walls. Silent. Too silent. And at the far end, someone sat. Calm. Composed. Waiting. Victor blinked, adjusting. His hands weren't tied. But he didn't move. Because something told him that wouldn't help. Comfortable? The man asked. Victor's jaw tightened. Who are you? The man didn't answer. Instead, he reached forward and slid a tablet across the table. It stopped right in front of Victor. Watch, he said. Victor hesitated, then looked down. The screen lit up, and suddenly, everything came rushing back. The crash, the crowd, the argument, Amara, her voice, his voice, and then the slap. Clear, undeniable, unedited. Victor's breath slowed. This doesn't prove anything, he said quickly. The man across from him tilted his head slightly. No, he asked. Victor straightened. You're showing one angle. One moment. You don't understand the situation. The man leaned forward slightly. And for the first time, Victor saw his face clearly. Elias. Calm eyes. Steady gaze. No emotion. You hit her, Elias said quietly. Victor scoffed. She provoked. You hit her, Elias repeated. The words didn't get louder, but they got heavier. Victor's confidence flickered. Just slightly. You don't know who you're dealing with, he said, trying to regain control. I have connections. I know exactly who you are, Elias cut in. Silence. Then, you're the man who thought no one would answer for her, Elias continued. Victor stared at him. And you're wrong. The air shifted. Victor felt it. Something deeper than fear. Something final. What do you want? Victor asked. Elias leaned back. Nothing for me, he said. A figure stepped out of the shadows. A lawyer. Documents in hand. He placed them gently on the table. Victor's eyes dropped, then widened. This is everything, Elias confirmed. Assets. Companies. Accounts. Properties. All of it. Transferred. Signed. Gone. You expect me to sign this? Victor asked. I expect you to understand your position, Elias replied. Victor laughed, but it sounded hollow. You think you can just take everything? Elias didn't respond immediately. Instead, he tapped the tablet again. Another screen appeared. Financial records. Transactions. Hidden accounts. Every secret Victor had buried for years. Exposed. Perfectly. You built your empire on things you thought no one would ever see, Elias said quietly. That was your first mistake. Victor's throat tightened. And your second, Elias added, was thinking you could hurt someone and walk away. The room fell silent. Victor looked down at the papers again. Then back up. What happens if I don't sign? He asked. Elias met his gaze. For a moment, nothing. Then everything happens anyway, he said. No threat. No emotion. Just truth. Victor's hands trembled slightly. For the first time in his life, he had no leverage, no power, no escape. Slowly, he reached for the pen and signed. Rain hit the pavement hard, cold, relentless. Victor stumbled forward as they pushed him out of the vehicle. He fell, hard. His hands scraped against wet asphalt. The bag was ripped off his head. He blinked rapidly, disoriented. Then he looked up and froze. Hospital. Same one. Same entrance. Same place. The memory hit instantly. Amara. Standing here. Alone. Broken. Everything came full circle. Victor sat there in the rain. No suit. No security. No power. Just a man. And then sirens. Real ones this time. Police cars pulled in fast. Doors opened. Officers stepped out. Victor Kane, one of them called. You're under arrest for financial fraud, embezzlement, and multiple counts of illegal asset concealment. Victor didn't move, didn't speak, didn't fight, because for the first time, he understood. There was nothing left to fight with. Months later, the world looked different. Not because it had changed, but because the truth had settled. Amara stood by the window, sunlight warming the quiet room. In her arms, a small, breathing miracle. Her daughter, safe, healthy, alive. She smiled softly, brushing her fingers gently across the baby's cheek. You made it, she whispered. Behind her, the door opened quietly. Elias stepped in. He didn't speak immediately, just stood there, watching. Not the room, not the world outside, but her, his sister, and the life she had chosen. You good? He asked finally. Amara laughed softly. Tired. Real. Yeah, she said. I am. He nodded once. That was enough. She turned slightly. You didn't have to do all that. Elias shrugged faintly. He did. She studied him for a moment. You didn't change, she said. No, he replied. A pause. Then softer. But you didn't either. She smiled. That meant more than anything else. Outside, life moved on. News reports faded. Names disappeared. But some things stayed. Quiet. Permanent. Earned. Downstairs, a new sign hung above the entrance of the building. Not Victor's name. Not anyone's name tied to power. Just purpose. A maternal care center. Built for women like her. Funded by what had been taken. Rebuilt into something better. Amara looked down at her daughter again. Then back at Elias. Thank you, she said. He shook his head slightly. You don't thank me, he replied. You call me. She smiled. Fair enough. Elias turned to leave. Paused at the door. Then, he won't bother you again, he said. Amara didn't ask how he knew. She didn't need to. Good, she replied. He nodded and walked out. Across the city, in a quiet holding cell, Victor Kane sat alone. No suits. No power. No control. Just silence. Heavy. Unforgiving. He stared at his hands. The same hands that had once built everything. The same hands that had destroyed it. One moment. One decision. One slap. That was all it took. He leaned back slowly, closed his eyes, and for the first time in his life, he understood something he never had before. Power wasn't permanent, and neither was immunity. Back in the quiet room, Amara held her daughter closer. The world outside didn't matter anymore. Not the noise. Not the past. Not the fall of a man who once thought he couldn't fall. Because in the end, she didn't win because he lost. She won because she endured. Because she stood her ground. Because she chose to build instead of break. And as her daughter breathed softly against her chest, Amara smiled. The storm was over. And this time, she wasn't just surviving. She was finally free. A powerful businessman makes one reckless decision in public, striking a pregnant paramedic and walking away like nothing can touch him. Within hours, the narrative is twisted, the victim is blamed, and her entire life begins to collapse. She loses her job, her reputation, her financial stability, and even her home, all while the world turns against her based on a lie. But just when it seems like the truth will be buried, an unseen force begins to move. The real footage surfaces. The story flips, and the same power that once protected the billionaire starts to abandon him. Behind it all is a quiet, calculated figure, her brother, who doesn't shout, doesn't threaten, but dismantles everything piece by piece. As the truth spreads and the empire falls, the story becomes more than revenge. It becomes a question of power, justice, and consequence. In the end, one life is rebuilt, while another is completely erased. But was this justice or something darker? Did he truly deserve everything that happened to him, or did the punishment go too far? And if you had the same power to protect someone you love, how far would you go? If you enjoyed this story, don't let it end here. Subscribe to the channel for more emotionally powerful billionaire romances where silence hides secrets, love challenges power, and one brave choice changes everything. New stories every week. Your subscription helps these stories keep coming.